Hi, I'm Tash. Welcome to Tash's Library. Today's video is my Christmas book haul. I spent this Christmas in Sydney, which necessitated a really cool little road trip, and stopped at my favourite second-hand fantasy and science fiction store, Weird Books in Wentworth Falls, and picked up a few books. So the first book I picked up was Windhaven by George R.R. Martin and Lisa Tuttle. Now, I haven't actually read any other George R.R. Martin. I haven't read any Lisa Tuttle. So I don't know much about this, but I have heard some good things about this. And the description's basically a strange and distant world where wild winds blow across seas, where dwell the monster skillers and sea cats. A world where the landsmen are locked on the earth to watch and envy the flyers, those who inherit the magical wings and the power of flight. Where Maris, land-born and adopted by a flyer with no child of his own, inherits the wings and learns the freedom of the air until her adopted parents bear a son who is of the flyer's blood and must inherit the wings. That sounds like fun. I also picked up a second-hand copy of the Ancillary Justice Trilogy by Anne Leckie. And these are in really good condition. I'm pretty happy with these. I don't know much about these except that they are a science fiction series and have won a number of awards. So I'm hoping they're good. We shall see. And the description is basically that on this remote, icy planet, there's a soldier known as Breck who is drawing closer to completing her quest. And she is more than she seems and less than she was. And so she used to be the Justice of Torren, which is a colossal starship and an artificial intelligence controlling thousands of soldiers in the service of the Rudk, the empire that conquered the galaxy. And an act of treachery has ripped it all away, leaving her with only one fragile human body. But that may just be enough to take revenge against those who destroyed her. This sounds really thrilling. It sounds like I'm going to probably fly through these. I was also lucky enough to receive some books for Christmas. And so my sister got me two novels that have been on my wish list for quite some time. The first one is Red Rising by Pierce Brown. And this, from what I hear, is a little bit like Hunger Games, but then the rest of the series goes on and becomes more of a space opera. I like both of those things, so I'm looking forward to it. So the Earth is dying. Darrow's a Red, who's a miner in the interior of Mars, and his mission is to extract precious elements, to tame the surface of the planet and allow humans to live on it. So a little bit of terraforming going on there, and the Reds are humanity's last hope. And then Darrow discovers it's all a lie, that Mars has actually been habitable and inhabited for generations by a class of people calling themselves the Golds. And these are people who look down at the Reds as slave labor to be exploited. And so you get some sort of rebellion happening, infiltration of the command school, and ultimately it's going to be a fight, I guess. And I've heard it gets epic, and I'm looking forward to this one. And then I hopefully will continue the series. The second one my sister got me is Sandlin Ascends by Josiah Bancroft. And I don't know, I've heard mixed reviews about the final book, but this sounds so up my alley. It's steampunk, it's, the Tower of Babel. And the premise is that this headmaster, Thomas Sandlin, basically takes his new bride to the Tower of Babel for their honeymoon, and then he proceeds to lose her, and then he must enter the tower in order to locate her. And this is a tower of all sorts of wonders, and each level is going to be a different type of society with different challenges and different threats. And it sounds absolutely wonderful. Fantasy Faction described it as Thomas Sandlin being the most unlikely yet likable hero since a certain hobbit rushed out of Bag End. That got me. I think I'm going to enjoy this one. And I kind of wish I hadn't done my January TBR, but I'm thinking that if I finish my January TBR early, Sandlin Ascends will be next on my list. My mum also got me 2 books. The first one is Neil Asher's Weaponized. This is so cool. It's one of the floppy soft covers, and this is once again a sci-fi. I've just realized I'm fairly sci-fi heavy, but thankfully I've got a few fantasies coming up as well. This follows Ursula, who has lived 2 human lifespans courtesy of the latest technology, and now she's struggling to find excitement and purpose, and signs up for the Polity's military, and particularly excelling in weapons development. But then she botches a powerful new ammunition test, is dismissed from service, and then heads for the stars. And after founding a colony on the hostile planet of Threpsis, Ursula finally feels alive, but then deadly raptors attack, and the colonists are forced to adapt in unprecedented ways. So how could the Polity miss these apex predators? And then they lead biophysicist Oren to form his own survival plan, one he'll pursue at any cost. So there's a desperate battle which consumes the planet, and Ursula needs to dig deep into her past to ensure humanity's future. What can I say? Raptors, apex predators, biophysicists, a planet. I think there's going to be everything I'm going to enjoy in this. I mean, there are like little pterodactyl things. I love dinosaurs. I love space operas. I think this combines the two. My mum also got me the first volume of Law Olympus. This is by Rachel Smythe, and I believe it's a compilation of a number of webtoon comics. And there are, I think, 3 volumes so far that I'm aware of. And this is a Hades and Persephone sort of retelling in a graphic novel form. So Persephone, young goddess of spring, is new to Olympus. Her mother Demeter has raised her in the mortal realm, but after Persephone promises to train as a sacred virgin, she's allowed to live in the fast-moving, glamorous world of the gods. When her roommate Artemis takes her to a party, her entire life changes. She ends up meeting Hades and feels an immediate spark within the charming yet misunderstood ruler of the underworld. Now Persephone must navigate the confusing politics and relationships that rule Olympus, while also figuring out her own place and her own power. This sounds awesome. I haven't read a lot of graphic novels, but this one is in full color, and I'm thinking I'm going to love this and hopefully go on with the series. Then my best friend gave me some Dimmix vouchers, and so I was able to go and buy a few books on my own. So I've decided to purchase the 2nd installment of N.K. Jemisin's Broken Earth trilogy. So this is the Obelisk Gates. I haven't read the first one yet, but it's on my January TBR. I'm pretty sure I'm going to love this. And so I've decided to just buy the whole series, really. And so I picked this one up. I also picked up the 3rd one, so the Stone Sky as well. I'm committed now, right? And so from what, I'm not going to tell you much about these 2. In fact, I don't even know what happens in these 2 because I want to keep it fresh for the first one. But from what I know of the 5th season, is that it's about earth magic, and it's about the earth dying over and over, and a family quest. And I don't know much else about it, but I'm really looking forward to reading it this month and then continuing with the series. I also picked up the 2nd book in the Lightbringer series. So this is The Blinding Knife by Brent Weeks. Once again, I haven't read the first one yet, but I've had this recommended to me by a number of people. The reviews sound really good, even though a bit like Sandlin Ascends, the final book has received some mixed reviews. But I'm thinking I'm going to like this one. It seems to have a really cool magic system to do with light, And I love myself a cool magic system. It sounds really epic. So I've decided to pick this one up because I don't have a lot of bookshops in my area. And so when I'm in the big city, I tend to kind of collect my trilogies, particularly since I want to make sure they match. So I also picked up The Art of Prophecy by Wesley Chu. I have been wanting to get this for some time. I keep looking at it, and since I had a voucher, I thought I would indulge and buy myself this one because it's the big floppy. Yeah, it's big floppy. And this is book 1 of the War Arts saga, and it sounds truly brilliant. An epic fantasy with martial arts and magic. The premise is a prophecy where a child's going to rise to defeat the Eternal Khan, who's a cruel immortal god king. And that prophecy anoints a hero, John. But that's where then the story hits a twist. The prophecy is actually wrong. And it seems to have the main characters an older woman who's the greatest grandmaster of magical martial arts in the kingdom. Always nice to have a character who doesn't always fit the young stereotype. And you've also got a straight-laced warrior who learns that rules may no longer apply. And Kazami, a chaotic assassin who takes too much pleasure in the kill. And it sounds interesting. I don't know much else about it, but I've heard really great things about it. So I figured I would pick this one up as well. And finally, very exciting, not book related, but also gimmicks, I got myself this cute little tote bag to carry all my books in. Of course, I love dogs. I love books, so I had to get that one. Well, thank you for watching this video. I hope you all had a wonderful festive season and that you also received many, many book goodies. Happy New Year. I hope 2023 is wonderful for all of you.